welcome you to last post-game show as UNLV drops a well-fought but ultimately tough loss to Maryland. That was a very winnable game that the Running Rebels dropped. I loved a lot of things that I saw. A couple of things are really concerning about UNLV in this Players Era tournament. Let's break it down, guys. This is the Let's Run podcast. All right, guys, welcome into the show tonight. Just a few minutes of a post-game show. We have 3 games in 3 nights. All of them are probably going to be very late, and so I'm going to try and keep these post-game shows pretty brief. Your Runnin' Rebels drop to Maryland, 74-67. The final score was probably a little closer than that. It was a really hard-fought game. Maryland was better than UNLV despite all of the flaws that they had, committing 20 turnovers. The Running Rebels just didn't quite have it, man. I mean, they played really hard. Like Tavon says, they need to get healthy. Absolutely. Let's break down the stats, give you a little bit of analysis, and then we'll get you out of here for the night. And then I'm going to get this up on the podcast feed. So UNLV led in scoring by Dre Gibbs Lawhorn. Dre definitely was the I would say the lone bright spot on the game tonight. I shouldn't say alone. I mean, some other guys did some good things too, but I thought that Dre was pretty aggressive. 3 assists, only 1 turnover, 4 rebounds, ends up with 17 points. He was 3 of 8 from the 3-point line. Really our only guy that could hit a 3 to save his life. Dre was aggressive. He was playing control, only 2 personal fouls. I thought this was one of the better Dre games. And especially it was nice to see him. You know, he's a Big Ten player. Dre played for 2 years at Illinois, and he got some decent experience there. And so Dre was easily the guy that looked the most comfortable on the court tonight for the Runnin' Rebels. He was awesome. No notes on Dre. Definitely one of our best players. Big fan of what was going on for Dre tonight. Shouts to him. Then I'm going to try and keep it on the positive note, and then I'm going to get down to the more negative side. Tyron Jones was pretty good tonight. 8 rebounds, 9 points. Did have 3 turnovers, but did make up for that with 3 blocks. Had a pretty nasty head collision in the second half. Had foul trouble. You know, if Tyron Jones is going to have foul trouble, it's just we're not gonna be able to do very well. He's our only big available tonight. Laji Dembele did play 14 minutes tonight, but he is not a player that's physically capable of playing college basketball right now. He's just not healthy. And really the injuries are the story of this team. I'll break those down really quickly for you. Obviously we're out Miles Che, our starting point guard. I don't expect to see Miles Che this season. I believe he's going to redshirt in my opinion, but that ultimately that's his decision. We were down tonight. You know, we find out right before the start of the game that we're down Jacob Benarbi tonight, who is a player that guys, Jacob has made great strides. He's been another distributor on the floor. He's been playing way better defensively. He's been rebounding so much better. And so Jacob Benarbi, we find out right before the start of the game, isn't playing all of a sudden because the staff hasn't cleared him because of some sort of calf issue. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He was practicing all this week. And honestly, to me, I mean, listen, man, the staff made their decision, but boy, oh boy, the Rebels needed Jacob Benarbi tonight more than I can possibly say. I mean, he was the guy that I feel like if the Rebels have Jacob, it's enough to put them over the top in this game. Because Laji Dembele, I know he played 14 minutes. He can't play right now, man. He can't move. He's too slow. He doesn't seem like he's in shape. This injury, I think it's a foot injury with Laji, is just killing him, killing his season. And I feel really bad for him because he's a good player. But if Laji Dembele can't move side to side, it just kills the defense. And really, you know, the only way the Rebels are going to have a chance is if Tyron can stay in the whole game, especially with Emmanuel Steffen, our starting center, out as well. I mean, the Rebels are essentially down. I consider Laji a starter. He would be a starter on this team. He's not. He's playing, but he's not really playing. I mean, the Rebels are down 3 starters, and they're only backup big off the bench. I don't know how you're supposed to overcome that, especially against a team with the talent that Maryland has. Now, Maryland's not some world beater team. They were ranked 67th coming into this game on KenPom. What are they up to now? Maryland is up to, looks like they're up to 63. I mean, that's a good team. We'll see how they do tomorrow against Gonzaga, but this was such a winnable game for the Runnin' Rebels. And so to lose it, when the Rebels were really doing great for a lot of that first half and early into the second half, is a little bit of a gut punch, considering that the Rebels have to go up against Alabama tomorrow, which is going to be a really tough game. Alabama's a good team. They just came off of a loss to Gonzaga, so Alabama's not going to want to drop 2 games in a row. Um, Really tough, man. I really did feel like we were going to win this game for so much of this, for the first 30 minutes of this game, and to kind of fall apart like we did was really disappointing. So Tyron Jones had a pretty good game. Laji Dembele, I mean, I don't know how to even grade his game. He's just not ready to play. He can't play right now, and the team needs him to play, but he can't. Walter Brown, I wanted more minutes for Walter. He only had 10 minutes tonight, and I feel like there were so many possessions where we needed him on the floor, and I don't know what's going on with coaching him, but there were Howie Fleming minutes I felt like that could have gone to Walter tonight, and Kamani minutes. I mean, Kamani, I'll get to Kamani in just a second, but Kamani's got to be one of the more frustrating Running Rebel players I can remember in recent memory. So Tyron had a pretty good game. Walter, Al Green, Al Green's a guy that really should be playing for this team. He should be getting meaningful minutes for this Running Rebel squad. He's a shooter. He's a career long shooter. I mean, if you look at Al Green's career, he has been a above 40% 3-point shooter for his career. He was kind of a JUCO player that ended up playing for Louisiana Tech last year. He did come in at the end of the game and hit 3 threes that kind of kept UNLV the score a little closer than maybe it could have been. That's a good sign. I would expect Al Green to get more minutes. So, I mean, I've been really disappointed with Al all season. But, to see him come in and hit those 3-pointers is definitely something good. Let's talk about, I guess I need to mention Isaac real quick. Isaac had 2 or 3 just wide open threes that you feel like if they drop, the tenor of the whole game changes. And that's really what's can be frustrating about college basketball and about basketball in general, is just 1 3 dropping can change so much. And it's a lot of it's momentum, a lot of it's kind of the rhythm of how your team is playing. I thought Isaac defensively had a pretty good game. He had 5 assists, did have 3 turnovers, but fair enough. Everybody was kind of struggling with the Maryland pressure. Had a steal. Isaac was fine tonight. I'm expecting him to, we need more from him, but he was fine. All right, let's talk about some guys that I do not think played well. The first we'll talk about is Naz Cunningham. He did have 4 points, a couple of free throws, and a dunk. Naz is just not playing within the rhythm of the offense. Now, I'm okay with that, especially because there are going to be nights where Naz is just unconscious. You can't really guard his shot. He's 6'7". He's just a freak athlete and a crazy talent, but he's just not playing within the confines of the offense. He's forcing shots. He's not moving the ball super well. Naz is just too talented to be doing this. UNLV had a 28-20 lead. Man, we had an 8-point lead with 3:23 to go in the first half. That's just brutal, man. Man, I hate that. I thought the game was, there were some calls that went against the Running Rebels that really sucked, especially a late traveling call. But for what it's worth, the officials really didn't decide the outcome of the game. Maryland just hit some threes late, and that's kind of what decided it. I mean, Maryland hit 9 threes, and UNLV they hit 8, but those kind of were late. And Maryland was 15 of 21 from the the free throws were not very good for either team. Just really frustrating. But really, if you want to know why the Running Rebels lost this game, the story of the game is really the defensive and offensive rebounding. Maryland gets 46 rebounds total. UNLV looks like we got 34. So Maryland out rebounds UNLV by 12, and a lot of that was size. So Naz Cunningham, not a great game. I just want him to play within the confines of the offense, and he's just not doing that right now. And he really should be getting a ton of minutes and should be putting up crazy numbers, but it just feels like he's not willing to, coach just needs to get him to fit that mold. And he can average 15 points a game, 20 points a game. 2 guys now left to talk about. Howie Fleming, just a brutal game for Howie. He did have 5 assists, did have 9 rebounds, so he continues to be the team's best rebounder, which is pretty pathetic considering a couple of the guys that should be getting a lot of rebounds on this team. Howie, teams are just going to kind of wall off Howie. That's kind of the scouting report on Howie Fleming. If you can just stop him from getting to the rim, he can't do much. Howie took three threes tonight. He did make one kind of early, and I almost feel like that was a bit of a curse because you know the two threes that he missed were basically air balls. I mean, he didn't have a chance on either of them. 3 of 6 from the free throw line. I got some like yip feelings with Howie on the free throw line. Um, just kind of a struggle for Howie tonight to really get his game going and to really feel like he was being assertive. If the Rebels want to be good, I mean, Howie did have 5 steals tonight, so that's something positive. And if the Rebels want to be good, they just need a more involved Howie Fleming. And teams are going to pack the paint against Howie and make him shoot from the outside. And Howie just doesn't seem like he's capable. I don't want to say this. He doesn't seem like he's figured out how to attack a defense doing that to him. And maybe it involves changing what positions he is. He's just not a true point guard. And if teams are willing to kind of guard him close like Memphis did, or, he can really get going, but need more from Howie. Need to talk about Kamani Hamilton. I love Kamani's game. I love his physical tools. He had a couple of thunderous dunks tonight. But Kamani only had 3 rebounds. Kamani should be averaging a double-double. Kamani should be averaging 10 points, 15 points and 10 rebounds. Only 3 rebounds in a game where the Rebels needed rebounding so badly is really bad. Kamani had 2 turnovers, no assists. He was not playing within within the confines of the offense. He was kind of butterfingery underneath the rim. Couldn't seem to collect a rebound to save his life. It just feels like Kamani is frustrated with how his season is going so far and wants it to go well so bad that he's just being goaded into making mistakes. And that's really unfortunate because Kamani's a very good player. And if this team wants to be good, Kamani has to be our best player. I'm just telling you, that's the fact. He has the physical tools. He's shorting a lot of his threes. But again, I mean, there were positives for Kamani too. In the first half, Kamani was just outstanding defensively. I mean, Kamani was incredible. And so ultimately, oh man, I mean, we had a 43-36 lead in the second half. Oh, that sucks so bad. I mean, guys, we were playing so well and they just kind of fell apart. And some of it was Maryland's size. I mean, Maryland just clearly had more size than us. But a lot of it, honestly, I think was decision making and the Rebels just not playing under control. Like they wanted it so bad, but they could not keep their bodies under control. And so really tough performance. What are the Rebels going to do? And let me get to your guys' comments here now as we kind of close out this game. I'll give you the final stats. So Rebels shoot 57%. Sorry, they shoot 40. Really, this team had been thriving on scoring at the basket, and teams are going to pack the paint against this Rebel offense. And so, they have to figure out a way. Josh Green has to play. Naz Cunningham has to be a shooter. He has to be able to shoot the ball and open up defenses. Howie Fleming has to be a shooter, has to be a better shooter. I mean, Howie, if you look at Howie's career, hasn't exactly lit the world on fire most of his career. Did shoot 40% at Illinois State on limited attempts. Shot 40% last year at Rio Grande Valley. But we just need more from Howie from the 3-point line. We need more from guys like Josh Green and Naz Cunningham because otherwise this offense is just not going to be able to score enough. Finzik says that was depressing to watch. All the potential in the world, but no depth and not big enough. Yeah, I mean, this running Rebel team, I think, is 5-1 with Emmanuel Steffen playing, and maybe even 6-0 if they're fully healthy. Now you can't expect a team to be fully healthy. I'm worried about this team's health. Needed Al Green in there earlier. Unfortunately, saw the end of the game coming with injuries and foul trouble. Tyron showing how important he is when he's on the bench. Yeah, Tyron is kind of our secret weapon. If he can be on the floor and play, we're a really good team that can win these types of games. If he can't, it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. Love Tyron and Al Green, man. Like he's got to play. Like we need him to be in there and playing. I totally agree. And I get why Coach Passner was benching him. I would have benched him too. He was not good to start the season, but the team needs shooting so bad. And this guy is the proven 3-point shooter. Like I am done seeing Howie Fleming and Kamani Hamilton threes being chucked up. Make that Al Green. If he misses he has to know that he can go in there and miss a couple and still play. Defensively, he's been out of position a few times, so I get why Passner's keeping him off the floor. But at a certain point, the offense just needs more space. and it's going to be inefficient. Steffen's back tomorrow is the word. I highly, highly, highly doubt that Emmanuel Steffen is playing tomorrow. But I mean, I could be wrong. I just he was walking on crutches, like a week ago. So I'd love Steffen. I can't see him being back tomorrow. If he is, that'd be great. But this team will be different when Emmanuel Steffens is playing. I can tell you that much. He has potential to be easily the best defender on the team. And honestly, I think when Emmanuel Steffens is back and when the Runnin' Rebels are playing in conference, you're going to see one of the coolest, funnest to watch Runnin' Rebel teams ever. And this already is a really cool and fun to watch Runnin' Rebel team. Barstool UNLV, appreciate you, brother. Good to see you in the chat. He says outplayed. We played very well. We just don't have the talent this year. I kind of disagree about that because I think we do have the talent. I think some of it's just injured and some of it's just playing out of position. Now we're definitely missing a big, especially with Logi not seeming like he's going to be a contributor. But anyway, I mean, I really do believe in this. I really do believe in the talent of this team. I think there's plenty. Yeah, I mean, and Master Rebel saying it. People a lot of times will say, oh, well, we're missing Emmanuel Steffen. What was he really going to do for you? What Emmanuel Steffens allows you to do is to play Kamani at the small forward. Kamani likes playing small forward. He likes going up against smaller guys. And Kamani's being asked at times to be a center, and he's not a center. Tyron Jones, he can play center, but he's really more of a power forward. This team needs a center so badly. I mean, this team needs a big so bad. And like Logi, I mean, we do not have a center. I mean, Jacob, I think, is probably the only player that can play center. And he wasn't playing tonight. So once Steffens gets in, it really does feel like the roster will shift into place as people start playing in position. And look, this non-conference is a time to learn, to grow. It was always going to be tough. Dropping those 2 home games early really sucked. But I absolutely believe in the vision of this team. Guys, in that first half, we saw some of the best defense that has been played by a Runnin' Rebel basketball team in 10 years, in 12 years. It was unbelievable. And they were doing that without a big man. And a lot of it was Kamani. So they're not going to be an at-large team. I mean, it's not going to happen. What they can do, I just want them to be competitive in the Mountain West, and I want them to try and make a run in the Mountain West tournament. And I think that they have the players to do that. Like last year, we didn't have the players to do that. DJ wasn't good enough. Rob was obviously injured. Some injuries definitely hurt us last season, but I just don't think we had the horses last year. This year we do. We actually do. And a lot of it will depend on Steffens being healthy, but I guess we'll see. A couple of other comments here. Big fan of your show. Excited to see the hardest playing team in over 10 years. Let's get healthy. Yes, and this team is the hardest playing team in over 10 years. I mean, they just are. They're hard. They play harder than any Kevin Kruger team. They play way harder than any Marvin Menzies team. They play harder than any TJ Otzelberger team. So, look, I get that it's imperfect, but and Martin says, I really love what I'm seeing on the floor so far. Injuries have hampered us from getting where we need to be. Things are getting better game by game. For example, last season, Colorado State, let me show you guys something just because I want to try and prove my point here about what I think this team can be and will be this season. And, let's look at a team in Colorado State last season. Okay. Let me show you something. Colorado State last season, 2025. Opens up the season, they go 3-0, and they lose to Mississippi. They lose to UC Riverside at home. They lose to Washington. They in their non-conference, they end up going 6-5. With no quad 1 wins and essentially, a guy in, I believe it was Jalen Crocker Johnson who was out. They're missing their starting power forward, and this team is 6-5, right? Really struggling, look very mediocre, just do not look like a good team. This Colorado State team gets that guy back and goes on a huge run, wins the Mountain West tournament, and then wins a game in the NCAA tournament. That is the vision for this team. And when you get guys healthy and back playing in position, that's what's going to happen. Now, look, if they're not healthy all year, or if Emmanuel Steffens just kind of sucks for some reason, I've never seen the guy play, but I just know that having a 7-footer that can move, which is what Steffens can do, by the way, I just know having that type of player around is going to make a difference. Even just being a body on the court is going to make a big difference. And so ultimately, I'm still incredibly optimistic about this team. I'm disappointed about the result tonight. I'm disappointed about, I'd love to say, um, I'm disappointed a little bit about some of the effort in the second half, but at the same time, a lot of these guys are playing super out of position, and they're just not healthy, man. But like they're not healthy, but it's not like they're not playing hard. If they were unhealthy, um, and just not playing hard, playing lackadaisically, I wouldn't have faith. But I know how they're playing, and maybe this is because I talked to Josh and I've spoken with Josh on multiple times, but I know that this team's going to be good. Now, a couple of other comments. I agree. The first half was the best that we've seen so far. Get this team healthy. This team can be dangerous in conference play. Yes, I totally agree with that, Jacob. Martin asks, what do you think the chances of Miles coming back? I mean, there's a chance, but think about it like this. Miles is a junior this season, and he's going to be out until he broke his foot again. I mean, Miles broke his foot a couple of months before the start of the season, worked all the way back, trained so hard, and then the day before the opening game, Miles Che breaks his foot again in practice. And Miles Che was the starting point guard for this team, the most dangerous offense, maybe the most dangerous, definitely the most dangerous shooter. I mean, Miles Che was the best shooter on the roster, I think, easily. And so, we lose our starting point guard and our best shooter, and Miles broke his foot again, and that's about a month and a half, 2-month recovery. And he's going to be out basically all the way through the non-conference slate. And so, if Miles wants to come back in mid to late December, he maybe could. I mean, there's a chance he could. Is he going to be healthy when he comes back? I mean, he can't really do cardio right now. Is he going to be physically fit enough to play? With only 2 years of eligibility remaining, and especially with the opportunities of NIL, I just don't know that he's going to want to use a year of eligibility when he could just sit out and be fully healthy for a full season next season. There's a chance. I just don't know. But that's Miles' decision. It's not anybody else's. Yeah, I think Miles, if I had to guess, I think he's going to redshirt, and I actually think he's going to be back next season. And it's just a bummer because he was a huge pickup. And honestly, like when you have a limited NIL budget and you spend as much as we did on Miles, because Miles was a coveted player in the transfer portal, losing that really sucks. Thoughts on the Augman interview with Greg Anthony? Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason why the vibes were so good in the first half. You saw Greg Anthony, a guy that has kept UNLV and UNLV basketball at an arm's length, an absolute legend, talking warmly with Stacey Augman on the sideline about UNLV. And yeah, I get it. They're 3-3. They're not perfect right now. They're not doing great. They're not doing everything they need to be doing. I do feel like they played about as hard as you could hope for a team to play tonight. And ultimately, Maryland just hit some shots that we couldn't hit. And Maryland honestly won this game on the boards. And I think you could quibble a little bit with UNLV just being a little too loose with the ball when they were getting rebounds. Some of their rebounding effort wasn't quite there, but at the same time, they were exhausted. They'd all been playing out of position for 40 minutes. I mean, it's just crazy. But that Augman interview with Greg Anthony was a good sign. To have Greg Anthony on TV publicly talking about the future of UNLV basketball, and to have Stacey Augman, talking about how Josh Pastner is the right guy and he's mending bridges, I thought that was great. Made me happy, gave me a lot of hope. I think this team could beat Alabama tomorrow night. I mean, it's going to be really tough. Alabama's really good. And, Alabama's better than the Maryland team we played tonight. But I think that the Rebels could play so much better offensively than they did tonight. Defensively, I think that was about as good of an effort. I mean, if you would have told me that Maryland was only going to score 74 points, I would have thought the Rebels were going to run away with this game, because the Rebels have been averaging like 95 points a game. And I think sometimes maybe the Rebels were a little too like defense. And this is a criticism you can throw at Josh, is sometimes his coaching isn't super balanced. Sometimes he's super defensively oriented. Sometimes he's super offensively oriented. And so I think this Maryland game was super winnable. This Alabama game is less winnable. The Rebels are going to have to shoot well. They're going to have to play good. They're going to have to rebound better. Hopefully, I mean, goodness, I just don't know what 24 hours difference is going to make for Jacob Benarbi and his calf. It was a calf injury apparently. But we need Jacob Benarbi back like crazy, man. We really do. So yeah, I mean, it's going to take this Alabama team tends to be in high scoring games. So, I think this Alabama team's a winnable. I think it's winnable. It's not super winnable, but you know, this is year one for Josh Pastner, and this team's playing harder and this team's playing the right way and playing hard, and they're not quite good enough yet, but you can see him making the steps and making the changes that he needs to make. So guys, I'm going to end it out there. I will be live post game tomorrow night as well. I'm planning on trying to go tomorrow night. So the post game show could be really late, like at midnight or something, like it is right now, because I have to travel back from the stadium from MGM. So, guys, I will talk to you guys tomorrow night. Plenty of things to look forward to. I think this is a winnable game tomorrow, and the Rebels are just gonna have to kick it into gear, and I think they will. I think they're going to play fun tomorrow. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I don't know if we're going to win, but I think you're going to see a much better offensive effort tomorrow for the Running Rebels. So, guys, let me know your thoughts. Shoot me DMs if you want to talk about the game or the teams. I'll talk to you tomorrow night, and I'll talk to you Thursday night too. And let's run.